On July 8, 2003, a Little Caesars cashier in San Jose, California, received the most unusual call.
This is Little Caesars Pizza. How can I help you?
A little girl with a trembling voice, struggling to hold back her tears as she slowly spelled out each letter of her address, was on the call.
I'm sorry? Who is this?
Little did they know that this was no ordinary call. The girl was actually a victim of kidnapping, held captive for days and desperately seeking to help through this one lifeline to the outside world. Let's explore how she managed everything and survived through the horrible incident. Jeanette's assailant had shackled her and was taking her to his car in the garage when a vehicle pulled up, interrupting his plans. Jeanette saw her mother's car and felt a glimmer of hope. Her brother Paul crawled under the garage and tried to fight off the attacker, but was overpowered. Rosalie, Jeanette's mother, also fought back, but was beaten until she fell to the ground. Jeanette was left unsure if her family was alive or dead as she cried and the attacker laughed. Jeanette was taken by the attacker, leaving her brother Paul and her mother Rosalie frantically calling for help. She felt helpless and feared for her life. After the police arrived, Jeanette's mother bravely tried to give them information, but she was too hurt. They were all rushed to the hospital for medical attention. The police were left with no eyewitnesses to help solve the crime. As the forensic team scoured the crime scene, Detective Heather Randall summoned bloodhounds and their handlers to track down the assailant responsible for the vicious attack on Jeanette.
One of the first things that I did notice in the garage was a lot of blood. I knew at that point this was a very violent crime. You start thinking, are we going to bring her home alive?
Despite finding blood splatter in the kitchen and garage, it proved unhelpful in identifying the perpetrator or victim. However, a nearby security camera caught the culprit on tape, revealing that he had burglarized Jeanette's home before lying in wait for her. After assaulting her for nearly half an hour, they moved to the garage. Meanwhile, Paul and Rosalie arrived at the scene, desperately calling for help as they witnessed the chaos unfolding. Despite these clues, the detective refused to rely solely on Paul and Rosalie for help. She decided to take help of media in the case. Service helicopters were deployed with thunderous speakers, blaring her name, while press conferences were held back to back to ensure that the entire city of San Jose was aware of Jeanette's disappearance. Jeanette memorized the route during the car ride, preparing for a daring escape. The man took her to a grand mansion, where he kept her in a small room with a bed, TV, and a bathroom. After assaulting her, he handcuffed her to the shower head and left her there. The little girl was too broke that the only safe place for her was the shower, since the man used to leave her in the shower after the assault and didn't touch her then. As the sun rose in the aftermath of the kidnapping, the Tamayo family huddled around Rosalie in San Jose, all disturbed from the thrilling event. Meanwhile, the police requested a few of the family members to join in a daring public address. The culprit watched the news in the morning. Jeanette's cousin asked her through the news that, "Jeanette, if you can hear us, just know that you are a strong girl. We are looking for you." This gave hope to Jeanette. On the second day of her confinement, Jeanette boldly began strategizing her escape plan from the clutches of her captor. Jeanette's life was in danger, so she thought she would talk to the man to gain his trust. She then asked him, "Where is he from?" The attacker smirked and stood up, looking at her suspiciously. She felt angry and disgusted, wanting to hurt him back with his screwdriver or any other means, but instead, she pretended to be innocent and asked for water. While he was gone, she examined her handcuffs and realized they didn't have a keyhole. Her heart raced with excitement because this was her opportunity to escape. She remembered feeling with her fingers a little button and like a latch. She realized that if she moved the latch one way and pressed the button, the handcuffs would release. Having just escaped, she felt the weight of time bearing down on her. With only a fleeting moment to act, she searched her mind for a plan that could either secure her safety or provide valuable clues to the authorities in the event of her demise. Since her brother and she would always watch CSI, Law and Order, and already knew that how the detectives on the shows would always look for clues, Jeanette acted fast and grabbed a watch and a toy turtle. She hoped they could be used as evidence against her abductor, but she heard footsteps coming and knew she had to hurry. The little jumped back on the bed, put the handcuffs on, and once the man walked through the door, he just looked at her. In her mind, she was hoping he may not touch her anymore because she had things on her. The story doesn't end here. Stay tuned for the next part, where we will reveal what happened to the little girl. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for more interesting videos, so you never miss any interesting story or topic. To be continued.